Hey, another edition of Off the Top Rope here on the Off the Mic Sports Network. So AEW Dynamite has come and gone. Not a whole lot happened tonight. Not a whole lot happened tonight. MJF and Hangman Adam Page kicked off the show with a really long, but really intense and really storyline driven segment that was fantastic. Like, this is everything that I want to see from AEW. And then the rest of this show was par the course of everything that is wrong with this company. So nothing's changed. It's like they are blessed with one feud that could potentially, restore the feeling. And it looks like Hangman is being groomed to go back down the road of a babyface. It's the whole thing with Christopher Daniels at the end. Him and MJF had a nice little face-off, going back and forth over their 5-year journeys through AEW, which was very well done. I really enjoyed the opening to this show. And they're going for the match. I mean, yeah, they only had a couple weeks to build it, but they announced it almost immediately, which is fine. We kind of already knew where this was going. So the match is happening at Revolution. I'm very interested to see where this is going. I like that they got Jeff Jarrett out of this thing. They got all the old veterans. It's just two AEW originals, two of the key cornerstones of this company going head to head with each other in a feud that could potentially revitalize a lot of what has been going wrong for this place. And it gives me optimism the way they started the show. But then the rest of this show happened, and just a bunch of it's just like not eh, you're a couple weeks away from a pay-per-view, and you don't really, outside of that opening segment, you don't really get everybody, hyped up for said pay-per-view. Like, case in point, the main event of the show was Roderick Strong versus Orange Cassidy. I like both guys. I'm sorry. Under no way, shape, or form, in no way, shape, or form, should any wrestling show be main evented by Orange Cassidy or Roderick Strong, unless it is a world championship match. And yes, this was, the international championship series, which I've talked about. You can go watch that video of why this, and Excalibur kind of hammered it home on commentary about how stupid this whole build to Revolution is being done. Um, it was nice that Orange Cassidy got Jane back. One of my favorite entrance songs. I'm on, actually, it seems like I'm on an island. A lot of people prefer the Pixies. Where is my mind as the go-to Orange Cassidy entrance song. But it was just a match. It was just a match. Orange Cassidy wins with the orange punch. We're done. Also, Adam Cole, what in the fuck, man? I know he's been injured, but holy shit, man, that guy has fallen off a cliff. He's just a background character at this point. And it's just like, it's really, I mean, I'll say this, another positive that came out of this show was not as much Death Riders. They, very simply, had a very quick little segment to, like, pump up Cope versus John Moxley for the world title, which is going to main event the show. I still think it's ridiculous that Adam Copeland passed out in their Brisbane brawl, but nice little gets some of the heat back, and gets one up on the heels, and now we're heading towards Revolution. But it didn't really change my opinion about where this match is. I'm not really that interested in two ex WWE guys main eventing an AEW show for the World Championship. And also, here's the other ironic thing. John Moxley comes out to the ring, starts proclaiming for heel heat that he's the world champ, he's the champion of the world, yet we haven't seen that championship since he won it. We haven't seen it. It's been locked in a briefcase. And last week, or right before the show happened in Brisbane, you had Adam Copeland with his spiked up little device or whatever thing, just smacking a briefcase that we believe have the world title in it, which was stupid. But yeah, nothing really changed on that front in terms of what's going to happen with the build to Revolution there. Then you get to another thing that I was curious to see. Where does Mercedes Moné go after a lot of people thought hey, Harley Cameron should have won. Some people were like, yeah, maybe they'll group Harley. They've already moved off of it. Harley Cameron was disposable. They go with Momo Watanabe. Um, I'm not brushed up on my Japanese wrestling and my Joshi wrestling. She's a accomplished wrestler in Stardom. Her and Mercedes have faced each other. I understand that she won this International Women's Cup at Wrestle Dynasty that gives her the stipulation that she can challenge for any women's championship that she wants. So she picks Mercedes in the most anticlimactic way possible, and that's your TBS title match at Revolution. What does that accomplish? What does that accomplish at all for the AEW women's division? Nothing. Nothing. Like, you're bringing in somebody from Stardom who doesn't even work for AEW, and you're having them face and you're feeding them to Mercedes Moné. It's not gonna change anything. We know Mercedes is winning the match. Some people will say, oh, it'll be a good wrestling match. Yeah, it'll be a good wrestling match. That's never been really my issue with AEW. It's just none of this means anything. You had a ready-made star or an organically over star in Harley Cameron who you could have had win the title. I understand that she had only won one match, but there was a golden opportunity there to make a star and, make a moment that could potentially, revitalize your women's division. Instead, it's Mercedes Hogan. We're just going to have her just clobber all the people. And then we're going to just have this nothing match for the TBS title at the pay-per-view. So what are we doing? It was great to see Toni Storm. Toni Storm is just fantastic. Um, there was a lot of puns in this promo that she had that were awesome. She's just wonderful. Toni Storm is just wonderful as timeless Toni Storm. So she's the women's champion, but we got no inclination about where she's going in terms of the pay-per-view, in terms of who she's facing. So again, you're a couple weeks out from a pay-per-view at the start of March, and there's really no build to it whatsoever. And like I said, outside of MJF and Adam Page, Hangman Adam Page, to start this show, which was freaking awesome, one of the best AEW segments I've seen in a really long time. Like, this was old school. Like, MJF, when he tries to sell a pay-per-view and he's in the ring with a guy on his level, like when he was with CM Punk or when he was with Cody, or, you see a pattern here. When he's got people on his level that he can go toe to toe with on the mic, and it's a good babyface, good heel dynamic, it creates moments like what happened to start the show, and then this thing fell off a cliff. Like, there wasn't anything like inherently terrible. Like, Chris Jericho, I guess, is going to have a match with Bandito for the Ring of Honor championship. If you remember, Chris Jericho's still the Ring of Honor champion, which I'd like to forget. But yeah, there wasn't anything inherently bad about this show. It's just, it was boring. And it didn't really do anything. It didn't really, like, the one common complaint I get from a lot of people complaining about where WWE is right now, a couple months away from WrestleMania, is like, man, nothing's really happening. We're kind of in a holding pattern. And believe me, I have a reason for why some of that might be happening. And I might talk about that a little bit later on down the road, relatively soon, actually, because there's a common denominator in a lot of things with what WWE is. But a lot of people who are, these AEW fanboys who are just complaining or, just want to find something to criticize WWE about, even though they're way more successful than anybody else, is, hey, this WrestleMania build's kind of plain. We know the 2 world title matches, the 2 Royal Rumble winners have chosen their, and outside of that, nothing's really happened. So, but here's the difference. AEW's got a pay-per-view in 2 or 3 weeks. And, we have matches that were announced, but Will Ospreay wasn't on this show. Kyle Fletcher wasn't on this show. You have a random match main event this show that's going to have no bearing on where we're getting to with Kenny Omega and Konosuke Takeshita. Do we have any reason to believe that Orange Cassidy is going to win the match next week? Like, hell, Excalibur even said near the end, hey, Kenny Omega wants to beat Takeshita for the championship, but Orange Cassidy might be the one to stand his way. It's like, the whole concept of this is flawed. I know why Tony is doing it is because he's lazy and he doesn't want to book an actual story, even though it's right there in front of him, even though they've already done this to Takeshita Omega stuff already. But hey, you've got a story. Omega wants to get his win back, and Omega's probably going to win the championship at Revolution. That would make a lot of sense. But Instead, hey, we're just going to have a bunch of matches and we're going to have Takeshita have to defend the title before the pay-per-view, even though it should be Kenny Omega in that spot if we're going to do this, even though the whole concept is deeply flawed. You main event the show with two guys who I think are glorified mid-card talents. Granted, they are great wrestlers, but this shouldn't have main evented the show. Yes, Kenny Omega was in the post-match angle. It's weird. You got a women's feud like Megan Bang against Chris Statlander, and you've got Penelope Ford awkwardly coming in and helping in the match, and then Thunder Rosa like thinking about swinging a chair but not swinging a chair. Like there's just a bunch of clunky stuff. Like I said, nothing was inherently bad. Like this wasn't like any one of those atrocious episodes of Dynamite, but it's the status quo. It's the same old shit, just another week. And yes, it was helped by a great opening segment. But aside from that, you guys are a couple weeks away from a pay-per-view out in Los Angeles at Crypto.com Arena, a big arena. And you'll probably sell a lot of tickets and you'll have a decent show. But there's no reason for anybody to give a shit if you're not going to sell people and get people more intrigued. Like the world title match, that's been set. We know where that's going. Nobody cares about the Death Riders. You've got Kenny Omega, you got Takeshita, but we're delaying the inevitable of what we're doing just because they don't want to, create compelling television. The most interesting match going into this show is MJF Adam Page, and that's a mid-card match. It should be for the world title because these are the two aces of this damn place. But we're not there. So again, they start off hot and they finish cold. This is really what this company has been for the last couple of years. So anyway, that's it for now. I do have something coming up here. I do want to talk a little bit of WWE. I've spent a lot of time talking AEW. I did talk NXT, but a lot of stuff coming up. Hopefully the sports calendar is going to ramp up. We're in kind of a holding pattern with, Four Nations Face Off is going to have their final tomorrow on Thursday. NBA season starts back up. And, NFL's in their off season. There's just not a lot going on. So that's why there's been a lot of wrestling on this channel, but a lot of interaction. I appreciate it. We're over 530 subscribers here on the channel. The growth within the first 2 months of this year has just been outstanding. I love and appreciate y'all so much. Even though some of you think I'm an idiot, I do appreciate the engagement. That's what this is all about. This is all in fun. Whether you agree with me or you don't, that's what this is about. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. Thanks. Like, share, and subscribe. Get at me on Twitter at OffTheMic28 or OT Mike Sports. I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.